Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back here live here in the OT show. And like I said, I have a special guest here on the show. What's going on, Mr. Darryl? How you feel? Go ahead and unmute yourself. You gotta unmute yourself because you on
I
mute.
see it. There you go. There you go. How you doing, my brother? I'm doing well,
Oh,
man. I'm feeling blessed.
oh, good. Well, first, like I was telling people, this month is brain awareness month, and I am
Mhm.
happy to have you on the show to talk about certain things. That you are a former Dallas Cowboy running back.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
now,
True and blue.
now I'm about to tell you something. Now, I'm about to tell you something. Now, this is
uh,
this is me being a sports fan, right?
yes, sir. Uh-huh.
I'm an Eagles fan.
Okay. Ain't nothing
Okay,
wrong with that. NFC.
nothing. Yeah. Nothing wrong with
NFC.
it. Nothing
Nothing wrong.
wrong with it. Well, let's get in and talk to you for a minute. Now, you
Okay.
are author.
Yes.
First, you're a former NFL running
Hmm.
back, right?
Yes. Yes.
You're an author, and you wrote a book called "Hear My Story Before I Forget."
Yes.
Now, before we get into that book per se, let's talk about you first. You know what I
Okay.
mean? From high school to college to
Hmm.
NFL, right?
Okay.
So, so tell me, when did you fall in love with the sport of football?
Gosh, I fell in love with football from a real early age. I would say maybe in the second grade. Because I'm originally from Texas.
Mm,
So my entire childhood was always watching the Dallas Cowboys play, you know, just from the start. I can remember. And, just being outside playing with your friends and your partners and, just out there just being wild playing the game, and then I started playing flag football during that time period. And that's kind of when it just kind of took off with me just loving football. But here's the catch to this. When I got to the fifth grade is when I first started playing or got into to play youth football. Youth, and it was tackle. And when I got out there, man, with all the hitting and the practicing, I was like, you know what? I ain't digging this. This ain't for me. So I actually quit.
wow.
And I'm a military brat. So, we was, my dad's in the army. So he comes home one day. I had quit and I'm back at home. He comes home one day and I'm supposed to be at practice, but I'm at home. He's like, well, what you doing at home? You're supposed to be at practice. I said, well, Dad, I'm sorry, but I quit. He goes, you quit? He said, did you tell me you wanted to play football? I said, yeah. And he said, didn't I pay my money before you go out there and play football? Yeah. I said, well, guess what? You getting right back out there and you're going to finish what you started. So he made me go back out there, man. But then I figured it out. I had to figure it out. I had to learn. I just had to figure it out on my own. He was like, "Hey, you started this. You're gonna figure it out, and you're gonna make the best of it." And once I figured it out and kind of understood what really football was really all about from a tackling, hitting standpoint, and working out and training, all that kind of things, then it kind of clicked in to me. It's like, okay, now I get it. Now it all started to fall into place, and I just loved it ever since. And I've been going strong ever since. And then,
Wow.
so I carried it over from youth football to junior high school.
Hmm.
Now, and I wasn't always a running back. I initially started as a quarterback.
Really?
Yeah, and they started quarterback. But then, of course, back in those days, it's just a lot of running. I was doing a lot of running plays, and so they was like, "Hey, well, this kid, he's got some speed. He can run. He got some moves. Let's try him at running back." So I did both, the quarterback and running back. But then as I progressed to junior high school, I started liking running back a lot better, because it just dawned on me. And then one of my, then I just kind of kept going with it. And then I got to high school. I stayed at running back, and one of the players that I used to really like that I always follow was Tony Dorsett. So
Ooh.
I used to follow Dorsett when he's at Pittsburgh and then when he got to the Cowboys. So,
Hmm.
I was always sort of idolizing Dorsett, his running style, what he thinks he did on the football field. I try to emulate when I ran, and so that's kind of how I kind of proceeded going through high
Uh-huh.
school and then then I, and then I got into track, and I really started loving track a lot more.
Uh-huh.
But I still stuck it out with football, and then I got a scholarship to go to Arizona State University to play running
Oh,
back and run track. So I did both in college.
wow. Wow.
So
So
I loved it.
so tell me about now. Now that was you being a boy, right? Because I call it
Yeah,
you being a boy, right?
yeah,
Now you
right.
being a young man going into college. Tell
Uh-huh.
me about the experience in college because it's a total different ball game.
Total different ball game. Now, keep in mind, youth football, junior high, high school, you're just going to have like a certain, so many players are going to be your top players, your
Yes,
top
yes.
elite players, right? One or
Uh
two.
huh. Yep.
If you're lucky, man, when you get to college, it's everybody,
Yeah.
and, and so, so it's, and it's everybody from different parts of the country,
hmm.
not just from your area. So I grew up in Colorado, so everybody that I dealt with was from Colorado. But when you get to high school, I mean, to college, you're talking about majority of the recruiting class that I came in with was from California, LA boys. A whole different umbrella. From what I was used to from Colorado. And so, the competition was a lot greater in college. And then you playing all these different teams from different parts of the country. California, the Southern Cals. We played Southern Cal. We played UCLA, the Stanfords, the Washington. Oregon's. Played Florida State. In the Fiesta Bowl, we played Oklahoma. So that whole competition is a whole lot different in college. And that's a time when you really have to step your game up, or you kind of just going to get left behind. And so I really pushed hard. I ran track also, and then I really just trained a lot because I wanted to be successful.
Uh huh.
And one of the things and one of the reasons why I went to Arizona State was because when I was coming out of high school, there was a running back I'm sure everybody knows of named Herschel Walker.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Herschel, when he came out of high school and went to Georgia, he was a starting running back as a freshman
Yeah.
and Heisman Trophy. And so I was like, I want to do that,
Uh huh.
and so, I was like, how, I want to go to a school that's going to let me play as a freshman, and so my first choice was Notre Dame. That was my first choice.
Wow.
So I was on a flight to go to Notre Dame for the recruiting trip. They had a blizzard. Okay, so I'm like, oh no, I'm going from snow to snow. Like,
Right.
okay,
Right.
no, that's okay. I need to change that. So I changed it.
Uh huh.
Send me back out west. So I give me some sunshine. So that's kind of how I got to Arizona State.
Wow.
And they said, okay, they gave me an opportunity to play as a freshman and run track too as well, which the same thing Herschel did.
Hmm.
And so I ended up leading the team, first freshman to lead the team in rushing in 30 years at Arizona State when I first got there. So I was really doing pretty well there. I
Right.
had good years at Arizona State, and I'm glad I chose to go to Arizona State.
Yes. 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 Now let's get into now from you being a boy to a young man. Now
Mhm.
you're in a man's sport called the NFL.
Yes,
How was the pressure then?
completely different. Now, like you said, now you playing with grown men.
Uh-huh.
We're not playing with young boys or young men. These are grown men. And one of the things that I remember because I got drafted in the second pick, second round by the Dallas Cowboys. So to me, a dream come true.
Right.
My favorite team growing up as a
Hmm.
kid, and have an opportunity to be on the same field with Tony Dorsett because he was still there.
Wow.
So I'm like, man, this is just amazing for me,
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that I remember Dorsett told me when I first got there, he's like, the first thing he said was, listen up, this now is your job. This is your job now. This ain't about playing, having fun with your homies and just playing football and everything was great in college, but now this is about you job and you being able to keep your job. And the way that you're gonna keep your job is to stay on the field and perform. It doesn't matter if it's at a running back, it doesn't matter if it's a special teams, it doesn't matter what it is, you have to stay on the field in order to maintain your job. That's the first thing he told me. And so at that point, my whole mentality changed about football because I love football for the game, but now it's a job. And so, your whole outlook on it is gonna be completely different because now, in order for you to get paid, you got to play. In order for you to
Yeah.
play, you got to be on the field and you got to be successful at it. Otherwise, you can lose your job and not have no kind of pay. And so the mentality changes when you get to that level. The competition is still there. You got you got Hall of Famers, all pros, and everybody's out there. So the competition is still high. And you still got to really perform out there. You just got to work as hard, or not harder, than the next person. And so that side of it is where the man comes into play when you get to the league.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I got a little secret to tell. You know what I mean? Even
Mhm.
though I'm an Eagles fan, right?
All right.
I still got Tony Dorsett rookie card because he was one of my
Oh,
favorite running backs.
there you go. I know we had some kind of connection there, my friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy because I always looked at it because he went to Pitt. So, I always looked at him and I was like, yo, regardless of
Yeah.
what team he played for, you know what I mean? I'm going to go
Yeah.
ahead and that's my guy. And I still have his card to this day. I still have
Um,
his card. So, you know what I
that's
mean?
pretty
That's a,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's that's my guy there. That's my guy there. Dosette.
yeah,
And then
man.
and of course Herschel, man, we were good friends, so he's one of my great friends. And
Uh-huh.
so well, he went to Philadelphia too, so if I
Yes, he
recall, yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, he
So,
did.
and I got a
Yes, he
lot of
did.
players that I played college with that were
Uh-huh.
Eagles, Eric
Wow.
Allen, Eric Allen. We played together
Yeah.
in college,
That's my
so
guy,
there's a
the
lot of guys,
cornerback.
yeah,
That's my guy. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, I got a lot of guys that play with the Eagles. We would hate each other in the field, but we love each other outside the field.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
So now let's talk about you now retiring.
Okay.
And after you retire, what was the feeling when you retired?
The feeling is, I'll be honest with you, man. It was to a point where I was lost.
Mm,
Didn't know what to do. Because just and keep in mind, so us as athletes, man, we've been playing this game ever since we were kids. And
wow.
so that's all we know. That's all we've ever done is play. I never had no job before. It was just sports, sports, sports. And so once my football career ended, it was like, what am I going to do now? I don't have a job. I don't have any plans to have a job. I didn't know what I wanted to do as far as
Wow.
a second career. And
Uh-huh.
a lot of us athletes go through that because in our mind, that's all we know and that's all we are groomed to do is play football. And you'll notice you'll see a lot of guys that should retire, don't retire because they don't
Yeah.
want to give the game up,
Right.
because that's all we know.
Uh-huh.
Especially in my generation.
Uh-huh.
And so, I was lost. But the only thing that really clicked in with me is like I need to go. I was like, well, since I'm not playing anymore, now's a good time for me to go back to college and finish my degree.
Mm.
And so what I did was I went back to college,
Uh-huh.
got my bachelor of science degree
Mm-hmm.
in kinesiology and sports studies, and then I continued and went and got my master's degree in organizational management. So
Wow.
once I got my degrees, then things started to settle in, started clicking, and said, okay, now maybe I have these degrees. Now this is something I want to do,
Uh-huh.
because now I have the education to back it up. Now I just got to go in and get the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I started working retail, sporting goods stores. I worked for Norditrek. I was a sales manager for Norditrek.
Wow.
And then, just kind of getting some experience,
Uh-huh.
as far as how to manage people and how to, it was just retail, but it's still managing people,
Right.
but once I got that experience,
Uh-huh.
then I was able to go to another level.
Okay.
And then so I kind of applied with another company. It was a catalog sales company. And I
Mm-hmm.
got hired as a manager there, a business manager there. And so now at that point, I was like, okay, now this is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Is being management and it's
Okay.
kind of broke up in that corporate America.
Okay.
And that's why I did that, and then from there I worked in banking. So I was assistant vice president in banking for about 13
Wow.
years,
Wow.
and so, and that for me, so that's kind of it wasn't what I had planned, but it was
Uh-huh.
something I kind of fell into to say, okay, now this may be something that it was intended for me to do. And so I stuck with it.
Wow. See, and I'm glad you said that because we really don't know what be happening to some of the former players and what do they be doing, because a lot of times, and I'm
Yeah,
glad that you said, like a lot of players be lost, like they don't know what to
yeah,
do. But the fact that you
yeah,
went back to school is
yeah.
is is a blessing. So I
It's
would
a big
encourage
one. Yeah,
any anybody that plays a sport, just go back and get your degree.
get your degree, because then you'll be able to identify what you want to do, and then you have the
Hmm.
education to back it up. Because how I looked at it was, nobody's gonna hire me if I don't have no experience. You
Hmm.
know, and being not at work, I didn't have no experience. But if
Hmm.
you got the education, sometimes that education gets you in that door,
Yeah.
and then you can start getting your experience. And that's kind of what my outlook now. Now I gotta be honest with you, before that happened, man, I went through a period of depression, because I didn't
I
know
want to
what to
talk
do.
about that. I want to
So
talk
I was,
about that.
man, I was depressed. I was like, oh my God, no, there's no more fans, there's no more loud noise, there's no more camaraderie with my teammates, there's no more
Mhm.
football. I was depressed for a good while before I figured it out.
And I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to talk about that a little bit after you retire. Now I
Mm,
know that we're going to talk about your book. You know,
mm,
hear my story before I forget. Like that, I'm going to tell you something, man. Just that
mm,
title alone
mm.
got me to the point of, yo, listen, what I mean? Like this is serious, right?
Right,
When
right,
when it comes down to not only just the pro players, but just kids alone.
right.
What I mean? Playing
Oh yeah,
playing this sport. So
right.
let's talk about that a little bit. What made you decide to write that book, and what made you decide to um, talk about that title? Because I know you're living with a little early stage of dementia, if I'm
Yes.
not
Hmm.
mistaken.
Right.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Dealing with the mental illness, I call it mental illness, with depression, because a lot of people don't know when they're depressed,
They don't.
and and
Yeah.
for you to recognize that. So let's get into a little bit of that. You know,
Yeah.
after
So
retired, now
so
here we go.
and then so going and just to kind of touch on the depression side first. A lot, yeah, you're right. A lot of people don't know they're depressed, but but people around you who see things that are different, and your behavior is different, from your normal self, identify something's going on, and so for me, it was my parents, because I was gambling, I was just, I just wasn't doing none of the things that my parents raised me to be. It's just I was just everything was out of whack, and then I was depressed. I was like stay isolated, I just wasn't doing much, I just wasn't caring about anything, wasn't caring about myself, wasn't caring about how I would, wasn't taking care of myself. It was just, stuff that they identified and I remember this day my mom said, she said one day she came to me and she said, I understand you're going through some stuff, but I think one thing that's going to get you through it is to get back in church. And so, because I was raised in church, we were raised in church, and so she set that in my head. Get back. You need to get back in church, and you need to start getting back to how we raised you to be, and the things that you should be doing that you're not doing. I went back to church, and when I went back to church, I got rebaptized. Because I was baptized like second grade. So it's almost like, to me, it was like starting my life over again.
Hmm.
And so once I got baptized, started, churching and just doing the things that he do, then everything started to fall in place. He started taking care of me and started getting my mind right. Not speaking, hey, I'm talking about God, just getting my head right. And that's kind of how it took me to that path of, going back to college and things of that nature and start working. And then at that point, I'm good. I'm working, I'm feeling good, I'm back in church, everything's positive, taking care of myself. And then years have gone, and then something happened that changed my life completely, which brought on this theory on this theme on the book. I got
Hmm.
sick, and that's kind of when I had
Wow.
got, I was diagnosed early stage of dementia, and then there was a period after that. I was on vacation with my family, and I had a stroke, and I got sick, diagnosed with a blood disorder called TTP. And that what that is it generates blood clots in my blood vessel, and that stops oxygen flow to my brain, kidney, or heart. And so
Wow.
when that happened, I was in a coma for like 2 days. And then when I
What?
came out of it, I had to back actually rebuild myself how to talk, bring back my memory, how to think, how to walk. It's like a newborn baby starting all over again. And so when I was in the hospital going through that whole process, I got to thinking like, gosh, all this stuff that's just been happening, you know, but I'm still alive and I'm still here. Why
Mm-hmm.
is that? And so I was reaching out to God, and just doing I prayed and I prayed. I read the Bible daily and just kind of asking God, hey, what it is that's going on? Can you help me get through it? Blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, there's something that I need to talk about. There's a story I need to tell
Mm-hmm.
on my journey from that period, from my youth kid to having a successful, happy life playing football to now I'm in the hospital fighting for my life. And so, and that's when the story came up. Hear my story before I forget because of the dementia side of it. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, okay, there's things that I forget memory wise. I lose my memory, and so I kind of did a lot of research on dementia and how that can transition to Alzheimer's and so forth. And I was like, wow, this may be something that I need to talk about something before I actually forget it.
Yeah.
And that's when the story came up. Hear my story before I forget.
Wow. So when did you start realizing that you was going through early parts of dementia? When did someone recognize it, or did you recognize it?
It was, I think it was a combination of me and people around me because there's things that you start to forget that you should
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of what was happening. It's like, I would go to the mall or I go to the store and forget where I parked my car, and literally would have to actually sit down and think and look around and see, okay, do I recognize where I came in? Do I recognize what stores? And I would actually have to sit there and figure out where I actually parked before I was able to find my car. Or my wife would tell me certain things to go to the grocery store to get certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the grocery store and get something completely different than what you told me to get. And that
Mm.
showed me time. And so it got to that period where I was just constantly forgetting certain things that I know I should know.
Right.
And it was
Right.
and it wasn't until when the concussion stuff came about with the NFL
Mm-hmm.
and players were getting diagnosed,
Mm-hmm.
getting tested. I
Mm-hmm.
got tested.
Okay.
Prior to that, I hadn't got tested. Then I got
Mm-hmm.
tested. And then when I got tested, the neurologist doctor said, "Hey, you have some early stages of dementia. That's why you're dealing with a lot of memory issues. That's why you're dealing with a lot of depression because I was still going through. I started going back into the depression.
Uh-huh.
And I just started getting these mood swings.
Mm-hmm.
I would isolate myself. And so I was going through all of these different channels of that. Compared to how you would think. I'm normal. I should be fine, but people around you notice it. My wife
Right.
noticed it. My kids noticed it. And so that's kind of what triggered me to make sure I started getting tested to see
Mm-hmm.
what's really going on, as opposed to, how we're brought up to like, oh, I'll be okay. Just something I need to work through. I'll get through it. Everything will be all right. And then
Man.
once I got tested and then continued to get tested, then that's kind of what triggered everything to say, hey, this is what I'm going through.
Man, I'm just sitting here. Well. First, I gotta first I gotta say thank you for you getting tested, right? And
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and you recognize because I don't honestly, and this is just me for being a man, right?
Hmm.
Um, we're too scared to go to the doctor a lot of
Yes.
time,
Oh,
right?
yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Right, because
Definitely.
we
Yes.
always say when we go to the doctor, you always come up with something, right?
Always. Yes.
and and for you just to go to the doctor and they start diagnosing you. Thank you for the NFL for start to do that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because they
Yeah.
never did it before. So
Correct.
um when we talk about this early stage of dementia and you went through so much far as depression, far as
Hmm.
going into a coma and everything, like I'm just sitting here, actually tell you the truth, like I don't even know what to say. To be
Yeah.
honest with
Yeah.
you.
It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's a
and for
lot.
you to go through it, and now still when we look at you, right? Me just looking at you, I'm like,
Mhm.
is it? Ain't nothing wrong with him. He good. He's smiling and everything else, but we
Yeah.
don't know what happened
Yeah.
before then.
To
Before
get
we
to that
got to
point.
the smiling, before we
Yes.
got to the
Yeah.
happiness and
Yeah.
talking. So,
Yeah.
um,
But
wow, man.
I could actually tell you, and I really tell this to a lot of people. So when I was in a coma, people understand what happens while you're in a coma, unless you're in it. To me, it was like a deep sleep, right? Just
Mm,
dark,
mhm.
deep sleep. But you can hear people. You can hear people around you talking.
Uh-huh.
I just couldn't respond to it.
Mhm.
And so one of the things that happened is because I'm so big time in my faith. I had, and I tell this to the people every single time. I didn't know it happened until the nurse and doctor confirmed it. So I actually heard a voice in my head,
Mhm.
a deep voice that said, "Get up." Now I'm in a coma. It said, "Get up." I get up. I start taking off wires and try to leave the building, leave the hospital.
Wow.
Nurse and the doctors had to grab me and get me down, saying because I'm thinking like this is like same day, something happened. And I woke up and I'm done. I'm getting out of here.
Uh-huh.
To me, that's a sign of God telling me to get up,
Yup.
right? I didn't
Yup.
know I did that until the nurse told me that, right? And the doctors told me that. I didn't know I even did that, period. And then so how I took that was there's a reason God brought me out of that
Yes.
coma. There's a reason
Yes.
for it, right?
Yes.
And so I
Yes.
take that to say, I'm smiling every day.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I'm smiling every day and I'm telling everybody about it. I'm telling them about my story. I'm telling everybody about my faith and how important it is to have faith no matter what
Yes.
you go through, health
Yes.
wise, personal wise, financial wise, marriage, no matter what we go through, if you continue to reach out to God with your faith, He'll get you through it no
Mm.
matter what.
Talk about it.
And so
Talk about it.
that's how that. And so I'm always going to be smiling because I'm happy
Talk
to be
about it.
here.
Talk
I'm
about it.
happy to be here.
Talk about it.
So, yeah.
Man. Listen. You are telling the truth. Talk
Yeah.
about it. Talk about it. You got to
Yes.
talk about it because
Yes, sir.
that's your testimony, and and
Hmm.
and that helps out everybody.
It
Like
does.
right now, you know what I mean. Like what I
Mm.
need to be upset about anything for, like my grandma, my mom used to always say, it's other people going through things worse than you.
Yes, that's true.
So, so
So true.
always remember that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just
Yeah.
just the little thing that you're going through is someone's getting it 10 times worse than you,
Worse than
and
this. Yeah.
and
Exactly.
it could be a person right next to you. You don't even know it.
Don't even know it.
Right?
True
So
that. Words of
smile.
wisdom.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 So now let's talk about the book now
Okay.
because basically, honestly, I felt like you talked about the book already. You know what I mean? Talking
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
book.
A little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Not in
So
depth, but yes.
yeah. So let's talk about you writing that book.
Okay.
Um, how was it like for you sitting down and deciding to write a book? Tell me what was you going through when you said, "Okay, you know what? I'm going to write this book." What
Yeah.
was the
So
decision to write it?
I started writing that book, and I started writing that book when I was laying in bed in the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah, so because what I was doing was, I was preaching. I was praying every single day, reading the Bible, and then when I had decided to say, this is something I want to get out there to people and share everything that I've gone through, I just actually just started writing. I wasn't thinking about any punctuation, no format, none of that stuff. I just got me a bunch of paper and just started writing everything that I've actually gone through and experienced
Mhm.
from my childhood, uh, second grade, fifth grade, junior high, high school. I talked about concussions I sustained every level of playing football. I talked about how, my successes in football, my non-successes in football. I talked about everything that I've experienced once I retired from football, the depression. It's just to me, it was just like sharing my entire journey, and I was just writing it down on paper. and just writing. And so I was in the hospital for about 3 months. And by the time I got out of high school, by the time I got released out of high school, I pretty much had everything, a lot of stuff written down. Now, there are a lot of situations that I didn't remember, a lot of things I didn't remember. So I reached out to my parents, and they kind of helped me remember certain things. Some of my friends kind of helped me remember certain things because it was blank and I just couldn't remember. And so they kind of helped out as well. My brothers, my sisters, my mom, my parents, they all kind of, hey, you ready? Remember this, remember that, blah, blah, blah. And so I was able to kind of help with that side of it. But I just wrote. And then by the time I finished, then that's kind of when I had to dig in to find like a publicist and things there to put in a book format and everything and dot the I's, cross the T's. But, because I was just writing, and she just said, just write. Don't worry about nothing else, just write. And that's all I did, just my entire journey.
Wow, man. I'm
Yeah.
So do you think that your early parts of dementia came from football, from hitting, just
I
colliding?
I truly believe that. Because the thing I said, and it's the thing that how I always look at it. In my generation, when we played football, man, it was just constant hitting.
Yep.
Every day, all day. Hit, full contact. So as a youth kid, say in the 5th grade, your brain is still developing. And so that's almost like a car crash that you're going through every single day with your head. And so from that side of it, I think that's a huge part of it, and I think it's a lot of part of it with a lot of other guys that are experiencing Alzheimer's and just all the things that they're going through. CTE is a big topic that everybody was going through, and so that's been a challenge for a lot of people, junior SAI, so all these different athletes that go through stuff is because of the head trauma we sustained playing football. And so I think, to me, honestly, I believe that's where it actually started.
Wow. Because I do believe that. I do believe that 100%. Because a lot of people don't know when you run into somebody full speed. A lot of people really don't know. That's like a truck hitting another truck.
Exactly. Yeah. Full speed.
Full speed, and then you got multiple people coming full speed. So that right there alone is who I already know.
Yeah. So now, and the thing about it is, I don't tell people that to discourage them from playing football, because it's different now.
Yeah.
The protocols and all the transition, all the type of practice, it's different now. I mean, I coach high school football now. And so the whole thing is different now. So there's like hardly any contact playing football now. There's hardly any contact playing football in the league, in the NFL. During camp, they don't hit. They don't hit. No contact during camp. So only time they'll have contact is during games. Preseason, so, but when I played,
it was all day, every day.
All day. We had two a day, sometimes 3-day practices, 2 and 3 hours, and we're hitting full contact every time.
Yeah,
that's a whole big difference, So,
it is.
So I still love it, and I do encourage people, if they want to play football, and I, play it, and it's a great game and it teaches you a lot. It's just a different game now, on the way that they practice the game, So, which is good, I think, which is good, So that's a big benefit for kids that are playing it now.
Yeah. I still think, and it's just me. This is me coming from the old school, looking at the Ronnie Lotts and the Atwaters and the Wes Hopkins and the Andre Waters and all those. You know what I mean? Like, it's starting to get to a point where, for me, I'm just starting not to see a lot of tackling. Like, even if you even just touch the quarterback, you know what I mean? The Tom Brady rule. Even if you touch the quarterback, it's a 15-yard penalty, and it could just been a mistake. You know what I mean? And for me, I'm like, oh, come on, y'all, come on now.
It's a big challenge, man, because especially when it comes to tackling, bodies are flying everywhere. You full speed, so it's like really, really a big challenge for guys to trying to tackle without their head being involved in it. You know what I mean? And so I think the main thing is they're trying to from this part here, out of the game of football, as far as the tackling standpoint. you know,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
kind of what the NFL, what they're trying to eliminate, and by
Hmm.
doing everything about doing the flag, the penalties, fines, things of that nature. But in the heat of battle, that's it's tough.
It
It's
is.
tough. Yeah,
It,
it's
it
tough.
is. It
Yeah,
is.
it's
It
tough.
sometimes cost the game. Sometimes
Yes.
cost the game. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You be
Yeah.
sitting back like, come on, dude, really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
understand that now since they're starting to realize that these things are starting to happen,
Hmm.
um, they are actually doing it to, save lives. I call it save lives on
Yeah.
the later stage. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Definitely save lives on the later stage. So let's so because I know we didn't already went over what we supposed to be doing, but I was just having so much fun with you, and I
Oh yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man.
Um,
Appreciate it.
and if you got any time, I would love for you to come back on for we could
Yeah,
do.
I'll come back on anytime you want me, brother. All you gotta do is let me know.
Man, because you know what? Let's have this one as the part one,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
then the part two, let's I'm gonna reach out to your publicist. A matter of fact, I'm gonna send you a
Okay.
private chat real fast that you should be able to see. Um,
Okay.
let's make this just a part one, and
Okay.
then we can have a part two. Did you see that private? I just sent it
Yes.
to you right there.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Yeah, I got it.
that is that is mine. So
Okay.
you can
Okay.
call me, text me, or whatever, and we can
Okay.
set it up anytime you want to on that level
Okay.
too. Um,
That'd be perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Let's make
perfect.
this a
Yeah,
part one,
I'd
man.
love to do that, man. I'd definitely love to do that.
Yeah. So
And
then we
then
can talk about
I'm
part
even
two.
and then with part two, and then I'm also working on my second book. So I mean,
See,
shit, talk about
see
that
what
too.
Yup. There it is. There it is.
Yeah,
So,
trying to get it
so
out there.
yeah, man. We got to, man. We
Okay.
got to. Well, thank you again for joining us here on the show. I need you to give everybody your IGs and where to find your book at, how to find it,
Okay.
and I'm gonna. Matter of fact, I
Okay.
want need for you to call me after this show because
Okay.
soon as the show end, call me like 10 minutes later.
Okay. Okay.
Because I'm going to ask you something too. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So
All
my
right.
my Instagram is dclack42. My Facebook is dclack42 as well. I'm on Twitter, so everything pretty much with me is dclack42. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and then I have my own personal website, which is darrylclack.com. And so, if you want to get an order a copy of my book, you can go to my website darrylclack.com, and it gives you options to just if you want to just purchase a book or you want the book autographed. It gives you those options, or you can go to Amazon.com. They have the book as well as BarnesandNobles.com. They also have the book as well. And so, reach out if they have questions on my through social media, or even just want to chat on my website. There's a link on there where you can just leave a message or whatever, and then we can just all talk about, chop it up, whatever we want to do about anything they want to talk about. I'm there.
Oh man, yo, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't already followed you on the gram. I didn't
Okay.
already got you on the Facebook. You know what I mean? So I'm
Okay.
all over. I'm not on Twitter. I am on Twitter, but I'm not on Twitter. You know what that? You know what I mean? You know that?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, I appreciate you so much, man.
All the
And
time,
we're
man.
gonna do a
Appreciate
part two. We're gonna do a part two. So make sure
you. Okay.
you hit me up so we can schedule a part two uh
Okay.
on this right
Okay.
here because this is
Yeah.
honestly
This is
like
great,
we
man. I
had.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh no, man, I
We can talk all
appreciate
day
you,
if you
man.
think about
Yeah,
it.
man. Hey,
We talk
listen,
all day if you think about
like I tell
it.
everybody, welcome to the family because this is the OT show family. So welcome to the family. Anything that you need for as marketing and stuff like that, we are here for you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Because once you a
Awesome.
guest, you ain't got to worry about nothing else. See, you didn't
Awesome.
already did everything for us.
Appreciate it. Appreciate
So
it.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Mr.
Okay.
Claxton. I appreciate you, man, for joining us here on the show, man. So
Thank you.
we want to talk about part two because I think a lot of people really need to hear more of this. To be honest
Mhm.
with you, you know what I
I
mean,
agree.
and who to bring it on is to you. So thank you. I
Awesome.
appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Well, I'll be talking to you. I'll be talking to you probably about like in 10 minutes, right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Take
All
care.
right, man.
I
Take
appreciate
care,
it.
man.
Bye
Appreciate it, man.
bye.
So yeah, man. Oh man, good show, good show, very good show. If y'all missed the show, make sure y'all hit the replay here on YouTube on the OT show. on YouTube. Make sure y'all hit us up on YouTube. If you missed it, you could go watch the replay on there. Make sure you subscribe to the OT Radio Show 1. Hit the subscribe button. Yes, we do have a subscribe button. So you'll see the subscribe button on the right hand side. Hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Um, hey, I appreciate Mr. Darryl for joining your boy here on OT Show. Hey, y'all make sure y'all go out there and get his book. Make sure you go out there and get his book. Hear my story before I forget. Man, if you missed it, you can always go back and replay. If you missed it, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you missed it, you can always go back and hit the replay there on the OT show on YouTube. You can go check it out. Here we go, right here. Hit the replay. We are on OT Radio Show 1. I appreciate everybody for joining your boy here, OT, here on the show. Make sure you come back because Friday we have 3 shows. Friday at 12:15, I'm going to be having on, that's noon, I'm going to have on CEO of BLK Underwear. And he's going to be talking about his product. He's going to be talking about it. And then I'm going to have on Miss Ashley Perkins at 7 p.m. here on the show. We're going to be talking about Relationship 101 Part 1. And then, Up the Block. With the boys from Up the Block going to be joining your boy. You know what I mean? And we're just going to be chopping it up on Up the Block at 11 p.m. So make sure y'all check us out Friday. We got a lot of stuff going on. And don't forget, Saturday, you know what I mean? My man RW, on the Speak On It. Make sure y'all check him out. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you check him out. And then, make sure you check out my man DJ Wiz on Sundays. Yep. Tuck. Yo, Christian Mix at 7 p.m. So y'all make sure y'all check it out. Christian hip hop, man. Y'all gotta check it out. So check out us 3. Because this is what we do. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just join us. And we'll have you rocking, talking, crying, thinking about some things. That's what we do. That's what us 3 brothers do. We talk it out. And we mix it up with y'all. So I love y'all. Y'all be good. And I'll be talking to y'all a little bit later. Peace. With your boy OT. We did it again. Another show in hand.